All right, we're going to be going over the questions from the quiz. Your first quiz is titled Quiz MS-ESS2-1. Now, your first question is just the study guide embedded into the quiz for your use. So it has that clickable link at the top, and it'll ask, do you have your study guide open? You want to make sure you click yes, otherwise it will be marked wrong and you'll lose points. So make sure you click yes. Now, the reason I have question 1 variation and question 2 variation is so that the quizzes are mixed up between student to student. So there might be questions that you don't have on your quiz. So I'm just going to go through all the questions that could be on your quiz. So again, make sure that you have clicked yes on this. You can definitely open this study guide and use it if you wish. The first question is, well, I should say the first variation of the second question. What is the scientific name for the layer of gas that surrounds Earth? So remember when we talked about that blanket of gas that kind of keeps Earth nice and warm? We have choices. We have lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. So our lithosphere is all of our rocks, Earth's crust. Hydrosphere is the water. Biosphere is all the life. And atmosphere is that layer of gas. So it would be atmosphere. Why is the Earth often referred to as the blue planet? The hydrosphere looks blue and covers 3/4 of the Earth's surface. Most people like blue. The sky is blue. Or when viewed from space, the biosphere always looks blue. Well, let's take that last one. When viewed from space, the biosphere always looks blue. Well, the biosphere includes all life. And a lot of it that we can see from space are the plants. And the plants are generally going to appear green. So it can't be that one. Most people like blue. Well, that was just one I tossed in there. We aren't referred to as the blue planet just because people like blue. The sky is blue. So the sky appears blue to you, but from space, we don't see the sky as blue. The hydrosphere looks blue and covers 3/4 of Earth's surface. So the hydrosphere, which is all the water, is blue, has a blue color to it, and it covers a lot of the Earth. So if it covers a lot of the Earth and is blue, that's why we're referred to as the blue planet. So the answer is the hydrosphere looks blue and covers 3/4 of Earth's surface. Question 3. In which sphere would lightning be found? We have the biosphere, the hydrosphere, the magnetosphere, or the atmosphere. So think about where you see lightning. Do you see lightning in plants and animals? No. Do we see lightning in water, in the ocean? No. Do we see it in the magnetosphere around the magnetic field of Earth? No, not really. That's not what we talked about in class. We didn't talk about in relation to that. We see it in the sky, in the atmosphere, right? So our lightning would be found in the atmosphere. In which sphere does a dolphin swim? The hydrosphere, the atmosphere, the lithosphere, or the magnetosphere? So which sphere has water? Our hydrosphere, right? So our answer is hydrosphere. Question 4. What is the name for the rocky upper layer of the solid Earth? We have the biosphere, the magnetosphere, the atmosphere, in the lithosphere. Remember on like the first question when I told you about the lithosphere being the rocks, the crust of the earth. Our biosphere is all those living things, plants and animals. Magnetosphere is our magnetic field around Earth. Our atmosphere are the gases, the air around us. And then the lithosphere is that rocky upper layer of the solid Earth. Oops. Which materials are included in the hydrosphere that are not in liquid form? If you think about it, we already know it's the ice caps because I uncovered it, but hydrosphere includes all the water on Earth. So if we think water in its solid form, what would water in its solid form be? It would be called ice. So that's why it's ice caps. Water in its solid form is ice. Question 5. What is the magnetosphere? Is it the magnetic field surrounding Earth, all life on Earth, all water on Earth, or the rocks and mountains, Earth's rocks and mountains? Well, we talked about these in the previous questions. The Earth's rocks and mountains are the lithosphere. All the water on Earth is the hydrosphere. All life on Earth is the biosphere. So what's left is the magnetic field surrounding Earth, which is the magnetosphere. The magnetosphere is the magnetic field surrounding Earth. The Earth's crust is part of which sphere? Is it the lithosphere, the biosphere, the hydrosphere, and the atmosphere? And just how we talked about in this previous question, the Earth's rocks and mountains of the lithosphere, the crust is also part of that lithosphere. So the Earth's crust is part of the lithosphere. What is the name of the zone of life on Earth? Is it the lithosphere, which we just talked about it being the rock, that being rocks and crust, the atmosphere, which we talked about that being gases, the magnetosphere, which is the magnetic field, or biosphere, which is life, plant and animals? So the answer is biosphere. And this question is very similar. Which term describes the zone of life on Earth that includes all living things? We just talked about that. That's the biosphere. An island is an example of what kind of system? And remember, we talked about two kinds of systems. We talked about closed systems and we talked about open systems. Closed systems being things or matter cannot enter or leave the system. An example that we had that we talked about in class was a closed bottle of tea. So energy could come and go, but matter cannot leave or enter. An open system would be where matter can enter and leave. An example we talked about in class was the glass of tea. So the glass that didn't have a top on it, tea could evaporate from the glass, or a fly or a bug could go into your glass. So matter is entering or leaving that system. When we think of an island, do we think of that as an open system or a closed system? It's kind of open to the elements. It doesn't really have any sort of boundary enclosing everything in, right? So it is an open system. Materials can be eroded off the island, sand can come off the island, and rain can enter the island. Those are both matter, forms of matter. A deep sea submarine is an example of what kind of system. So think of what a deep sea submarine is. What does it do? Does it keep things out? Does it keep things in? So when we're in a submarine, we definitely don't want water leaking into the submarine. It's got to keep air in so researchers can breathe. It's got to keep water out so we can have that air. So it is a closed system. Question 8. The breakdown of rocks by physical or chemical processes is called, is it weathering or erosion? Now, key thing in here is that it says physical or chemical processes. And one of our words here, we did talk about these two things and pertaining to this word. So when it's physical chemical processes and it's just talking about the breakdown, that is called weathering. Now, the process where Earth's surface is worn away and transported or moved to a new place is called erosion. The key being that it is moved or transported somewhere else to a new place. That's erosion. And one last question here. Question 9. Imaginary lines that run from the North Pole to the South Pole are, is it lines of longitude or lines of latitude? North to South Pole. And if you were in class today, we did talk about how different mouth sounds can kind of give you a hint as to what it is. So remember that lines of longitude are vertical. Lines of latitude are horizontal. So if we're going from North Pole to South Pole, those are vertical lines or lines of longitude. Imaginary lines that circle the Earth parallel to the equator, so vertical, horizontal. I'm sorry, let me take a break here. Let me get a picture out. Maybe this will help. All right, so vertical, horizontal. Even I get them mixed up. Jeez Louise. So vertical, horizontal. Lines that circle the Earth parallel to the equator, which are horizontal, lines of latitude, horizontal. So imaginary lines that circle the Earth parallel to the equator are lines of latitude. If you have any questions, sorry about that last question there, but if you have any questions, let me know. I hope this helped, and have a great day.